Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight. We bring you the real information and analysis on what's really going on with Russia and the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about Finland, which recently joined NATO and has gone from being a friendly and large trading partner of Russia into a country that has developed serious Russophobia and is destroying its economy by joining the sanctions against Russia. Now, the decision to cease purchasing Russian timber has had serious consequences for Finland, as it's been forced to accelerate the rate of its forestry operations in order to meet the increased demand for timber and wood products. However, this has resulted in a surge in its costs for its timber industry. Now let's look at the background to this situation and its potential future implications. Russia, of course, is again being blamed for the problem of those that imposed the sanctions on it. And Finland has begun to seriously increase its deforestation due to a decrease in the import volumes of timber from Russia. So demand for its own timber has increased, and so have its prices by almost 20%, according to a report by the Finnish Forestry Centre, Metsäkehys, as it's called. It's got too many diacritics in it for me. At the same time, pulpwood for the production of cellulose, wood and paper pulp has become 20% more expensive. Finland's abundant forests, covering 26 million hectares, or 70% of the country's territory, are a testament to its natural forestry wealth. That is in comparison to its European neighbours, who've long since destroyed their forests, woodlands, groves and thickets, and can only envy Finland's bountiful forests. That said, however, Russia's 800 million hectares of woodlands, rich in coniferous forests, are far more impressive. But both countries have many valuable forests that are important for ecology and for industry. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, SCOBRICSinsight.com, to further develop it. You can do this by making a small donation, which is done by clicking the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now for watching, and I also thank all those who've donated in the past, and I'll continue to thank you. In Finland, the forestry is well managed, with a focus on sustainable harvesting practices that ensure the wood is left to grow for at least 100 years before being harvested. Now, this approach ensures a steady supply of timber for a wide range of applications, for the production of pulp and paper, to furniture, building materials and for heating. In Finland, over 60% of households use wood or wood pellets for heating as the country's transitioned away from coal and peat-fired power plants, allegedly for environmental reasons. The Helen power plant in Vuosaari is a major consumer of energy wood, replacing the output of the coal plants at Hanzari and Samaras. Coal plants. For decades, Russia provided assistance. Following the Second World War, Finland had neutral stations and was very active in trade with the USSR, simultaneously promoting its status as a transit country. And so Russia, oil, gas, nickel, chemical product, timber and electricity left Russia and went to Europe through Finnish territory. In exchange, Russia and the Soviet Union got construction materials, consumer goods and various other products. In the post-Soviet era, their business did experience significant growth. According to the Federal Customs Service of Russia, timber exports to countries that were previously unfriendly in 2021 were about 500 million. Of this, 374 million euros were exports to timber to Finland, which was still neutral at the time. Now, according to Finnish sources, 10 to 15% of their consumption was Russia-produced goods. However, after 2022, there was a marked decline in the trade, and the country's stance towards Russia, plus its support for sanctions and its rapid accession to NATO, contributed to this decline. I mean, this had a direct and immediate impact on businesses there. Prior to the imposition of the fifth package of sanctions, Russian manufacturers continued to supply timber to Finland as usual, with the volumes reaching over 8.4 million cubic metres in 2021 and 5.5 in the first half of 2022. However, following the introduction of the restrictive measures, the EU countries unilaterally decided not to import timber from Russia, decided a complete cessation of timber supplies to Finland in July 2022. Now, analysts did predict, and this is what happened, that they would need to result in felling trees on a very large scale. In 2024, a record was set with 65 million cubic metres of forests, private forests being felled. This is an increase of 11 million cubic metres compared to the previous years. Metsäkeskus, which is the Finnish forestry Insight, notes in a peak year, 7.5 million were cut down. Following the rejection of Russian timber, Finns are now looking for alternatives, but there ain't one. However, the price of timber on the global market has also gone up significantly. The majority of the world's forests are concentrated, with Russia having 20%, Brazil 12%, Canada 9%, USA 8%, and China 5%. Now, these countries are well positioned to meet the demand for timber, except in the USA and Canada, for example, there is not enough. They don't have enough for supply, so there's no surplus. So they need sources of timber from various sources, and Russia sells a lot of timber to other places, including the USA and Canada, for building timber. Now, however, given the surge in private forestry, none of the countries can match the timber volume previously supplied by Russia. According to Nadezhda Kapustina, who's a professor at the University of Risk Management and Economic Security in Russia, there are countries where timber of every tree is significant value. I mean, while Europe's forests are dwindling, Central Asia and the Middle East and many African countries have never had any timber to cut down. Now, they've been importing timber on a large scale for a long time, and they're prepared to pay for it. So Europe can argue all it wants about we don't want Russian timber, but somebody else does. So even if a company overcomes its competitors by offering higher prices, that's no guarantee of success, because not all trees are suitable for the European machinery. Typically, equipment is designed with specific characteristics of the wood to be processed, and these vary among different suppliers. For example, Finnish companies initially manufactured equipment for the processing of Russian raw materials, relying on the abundant and inexpensive Karelian wood for their pulp and paper industry. In addition, the cost of deliveries from distant countries like China is exorbitant, which makes European wood chairs a highly attractive proposition. However, a table that used to be priced at €200 last week is now being sold for €400 today, creating a crisis in sales and a lack of funds. Some companies are already facing closure due to this shortage of proper Russian timber. Stora Enso mothballed 2 of its plants, the pulp and paper production at the Sunila plant in Finland and the Napi sawmill in Estonia. Companies in the Czech Republic and Germany, where there's a long tradition of wood processing, have obviously also been adversely affected. And a similar situation is in the heating sector. The cessation of Russian timber supplies has led to a significant increase in the careful use of preserved trees for kindling. The annual consumption of pulpwood in power plants, small houses and farms is up to 10 million cubic metres, and that led to an increase in the use of high-quality construction timber for burning, and that includes their soda. I mean, some energy companies have switched to burning waste, which is now imported from other EU countries, but there's a huge shortage of that, and because of that, timber prices in Finland keep rising and deforestation is no longer a viable solution. Now, given the relatively high level of timber prices in relation to the country's overall inflation, it's going to be a 20% to 40% increase in furniture costs made from timber. Prices are influenced not only by the rising cost of it, but the demand for construction and furniture making. The situation has been shaped in part by Russian privates who are now unable to outsell to Finland, even if they have their own plants there. Now, if this continues, demand will decline, potentially leading to a faster escalation in timber costs compared to the construction cost. I I mean, as felling increase, so does the volume of new tree plant, which in turn requires additional funds, which are included in the cost of production. Right, so we shall see what's going to be happening in that. I mean, it's also worth noting that production costs are higher for the Finns than they are in Russia because of labour and energy costs. That's just as an example. So the rise in timber prices on the Finnish domestic market is just something they're going to have to live with. And that was inevitable because that will have a knock-on effect on other related industries, its furniture production, its construction. I mean, many houses in Finland are actually constructed from wood, so it should be noted that there'll be no comparable increase in these segments, but it's likely to be 1.5 to 2 points lower than for wood. Raw materials are not the only expensive item for manufacturers or construction companies. But these costs are a minor issue because of their cost to the environment. You can't replace trees just in a fortnight, or once you cut them down it takes 50, 60, 70 years to get them, and that's true for most of them. So the consequences of the increased deforestation is a violation of its ecological balance, a decrease in its biodiversity and other economic problems. It takes centuries to replace forests, as we all know. I mean, just look at the UK, which has lost most of its forestation. In 2023, Russia increases timber and took products to other countries, and it will actually reach 5 billion, with China being one of the largest buyers. Notably, it buys a lot of it, turns it into furniture, and ships it off around the world. So, yet again, curse of imposing sanctions on Russia strikes again. Good luck. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and please like and share. And if you're feeling generous, click on the thanks button and make a donation. See you all again soon. Thank you.